Okay, so Mirz Hashem, the learning that we do tonight is a Refua Shelema for Shura Bat Sarah. Should have a Refua Shelema. Okay, so this week's parasha is Parasha Vayera, which is it's a very heavy parasha. Why? Because we begin seeing the Makot, which is interesting, right? Because the Makot, the name says it means it's a plague. Plagues are not such good things. But even we call them the Makot, but for us they're very good things. The 10 plagues in Mitzrayim were good for us.
Not necessarily. No.
Why not?
It's about the darkness.
So you're right. So first of all, darkness, Choshech is next week's parasha. But it's a good question. I'll tell you a beautiful way to understand Choshech. Mm-hmm. I recently heard this understanding, and it's mamash, it's pashut. It's simple that this is the understanding of Choshech. The question that Mike is referring to is, in the Makot of Choshech, 4/5 of the Jewish people, 80%, die in Mitzrayim. So Mike is saying this, how's that a good thing? That's really bad for us, right? We leave only 1/5 of Klal Yisrael leave Mitzrayim, 4/5 die. So how's that good? So the way to understand it is very simple. Meaning, 4/5 of Klal Yisrael unfortunately got persuaded and influenced by Mitzrayim. That they said, it's okay. You can go, you 20%, you can go get the Torah. We are chilling here. We're good. We don't have a problem with what's going on. We're comfortable in our lifestyle. We're comfortable just doing all of our stuff on social media and TikTok and whatever else, right? We don't see a problem with any of this. I'll give that up. You go serve the Korban, whatever it is you say you got to do. We're chilling here. So Hashem said, you know what we got to do? For the 4/5 who don't understand that they're lacking, for the 4/5 who don't realize that the Kedusha of connecting to Hashem is so much greater, Hashem said, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to end your connection to this Galut before it becomes even worse than it is. And so in Makot Choshech, instead of it looking at it like, 4/5 of us died, Hashem said, okay, 4/5 of you don't understand the right decision from the wrong decision. I'm going to stop it before it gets even worse. And so Makot Choshech was also a bracha because it doesn't get even worse. Hashem says we're going to nip it in the bud now. Okay? So it's all about perspective, how you see things. But the reality is, that's exactly the point we want to make today. Everything is perspective. How do you see things? So, Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was a little boy, there's a Medrash, famous Medrash that we just have to make sure we're aware of. We're all familiar that Moshe Rabbeinu had a speech impediment, right? He wasn't a smooth talker. Not the words, but literally the speech wouldn't come out so clear. Because when he was a little boy, he was raised by Paro. The ultimate irony ever, right? It's like Paro made a decree in his country, his entire country. First, any Jewish boy born has to be drowned. And then he was so paranoid and so nervous, he changed the decree. He said, "Nu gzera, any boy, Egyptian or Jewish, kill them all. Every boy." Yeah. When it was getting close to Moshe's birthday, they read the constellations. They saw it was going to be time for Moshe to be born soon. He said, okay, every single boy, Egyptian and Jewish, kill them all. Why? He was afraid that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to be born. Moshe Rabbeinu, he knew was going to save the Jewish people. So how ironic is it that his paranoia of this one little baby, he's killing out every boy ever born in his country, ultimately winds up being raised by him. Right?
How the world works.
Huh? It's not the world works, it's the way Hashem works. He says, you think you're going to kill the baby? Kill as many as you want. Not only you're not going to kill Moshe Rabbeinu, you're going to raise him literally in your palace. And that's what happened. Basi goes to the river. By the way, you should know that some Mefarshim explain. Why was she going to the river? Why? She's not Jewish.
She was converting.
Yes, beautiful. When you convert, you have to go to the mikvah. Batya said, this is crazy. My father's system, this is not real. She was going to convert to Judaism. When she went to go convert, Baby Moshe's there chilling.
Why would Paro let him survive? It was the baby.
Good. So by the way, in Mirza Hashem, you get married and you have a daughter. Amen.
Daughter.
Amen. You have sons too. You have beautiful children. When you have your daughter too, you realize when the daughter comes home and says, "Daddy, Daddy, I want," you say, "Yes, daughter." That's the way it works.
Yes, but you.
Huh?
Yes,
Right?
but you.
Imagine, can you imagine the entire country? Paro's like, kill all boys. His daughter walks in the door and says, "Daddy, I want to keep this baby boy I found."
It's a cliche, though.
Yes.
I would never let that slide.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't care, I'll kill it.
Yeah, okay, fine.
It's a cliche. It's like,
Right.
why would I fall for that trap?
Maybe, but we see that this is legit what happened.
Rabbi.
Right? Yeah.
You're not in control, bro.
Yeah.
What?
You're not in control.
Why
Why
would
did
murder
you
that
answer
baby? No
that?
problem.
It was apparently that
Bro.
these people were reading
You're
constellations
gonna bring
when
back
Moshe
what you
went
said
into
in Miami.
the
What's
Nile.
Right.
They
Yo,
saw that
my nigga,
He went into the Nile.
by the water.
Right.
Because you
Right. So
can't
that's
take
why
energy.
they thought it was real.
Same energy.
Divide.
Sorry.
What happened?
Sorry.
So they read the constellation. So what happened was they saw that Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday, and they saw what happened. The baby was supposed to be thrown into the Nile. So they saw that the baby was thrown into the Nile. He was.
Wait.
His mother put him in the basket and put the basket in the Nile. So the constellation said, right, Moshe was put into the Nile. Game over.
How'd they know his birthday? How'd they know?
They read the stars. They used to read the stars like normal. Like you read a newspaper, they were able to look at the stars and read.
Wait, they had a prophecy from the stars on their own terms?
It's not prophecy.
How would they know when Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday was?
They were able to read the stars,
Yeah, I
stars
know,
when
but
people
how
were
would they
born.
know that the person Moshe was going to be born that day? Like, where did they get the news that it was his birthday?
Everything was they were able to read the stars, the mamash. Like we read ticker take, this flash. They were able to mamash look at the star. Maybe not everyone, certain people, whatever. They were able to look up. Say, okay. So they saw, hey, the baby born river. Okay, we're good to go. All the babies today were thrown into the river. He was, but in the basket in the river. So right, so he goes down. Badia comes down. She sees the baby. She comes home and says, "Daddy, by the way, I found the baby and I'm keeping him." Okay. So what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu was like 5 years old. He's playing on Paro's lap. And the king always wears a crown. Moshe Rabbeinu goes as a little kid. He takes the crown off the Paro's head, and the whole room goes still. They're like, "What?" It's a sign, because everybody knew that baby was like Moshe. They understood that baby, the one baby who got away, he was the one they were nervous about. And he goes and he takes the crown off Paro's head. They're also like, "Yo, this is symbolic. He's telling you now that he's going to take the crown off your head. This is not a good sign." Paro gets really angry. He says, "We got to figure this out." He says, "You know what? We'll put a challenge." It's a baby. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe he does. So Paro puts out 2 bowls. He puts a bowl of gold and gems and diamonds and rubies and like all this nice expensive stuff. And next to it, he puts a bowl of glowing coals, hot fiery coals. He said if he goes for the gold and the silver and stuff like that, that's a sign he knows what he's doing and he's trying to overthrow us. We'll kill him right now. If he goes for the coals, he's a stupid little kid. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's fiery. It's pretty. Oh wow, choo 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 wow. Sparkly. He went for he burnt himself. What's he know? He's a kid. The crown was glistening in the light. He just took the crown because it was fancy. And so Moshe Rabbeinu is 5 years old. He's going for the gold. The Malach comes, pushes his hand over. He takes the coals, burns his hand. Quickly, reaction. Sticks his hand in the mouth, and the fire is so hot it burns his tongue too. And from that moment, Moshe Rabbeinu can't speak. He's difficult, hard of speaking. That's what happens. Yeah.
It's so weird to see that when God came to him and says, "You're going to lead this nation," he says, "I can't speak." But then we also hear an opinion that he was the king of Ethiopia for like how many years? So how was he able to lead a nation like that? But when it came to this, he was afraid.
So what did it require to lead the Jewish people?
Yitro was the king.
Well, either way, fine. First of all, Yitro was the king of Midian. He's saying somewhere else, right? What does it require to lead a nation? On a regular basis, you don't need anything, right? You have your messengers, your servants, your advisors.
Why?
What
Not
are you
necessarily,
talking
Rabbi.
about? Huh?
No, you don't necessarily. You have to be charismatic. You need to lead people
So,
to die for you.
fine. But why did Moshe use this as an excuse? Why was this so much more important right now?
You to say it was a humble or something.
No, it's because he had to go argue with Paro.
Oh.
If I'm sitting in my palace, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I have servants, I can tell my servants, they know I can't speak so well, but if my country is running smoothly, it doesn't matter if I can speak or not, I'm sitting on top of the throne. But it's when Moshe goes into Mitzrayim, he has to now argue with Paro, if my entire business is going to be based on negotiations and I can't speak, so now it becomes a problem. It's very different. But what happens? Moshe Rabbeinu uses this as an argument to Hashem. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, go and lead the people. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, Eich yishmeini paro ki ani aral sifasayim. How is it going to be possible? I'm going to speak to Paro. He's going to understand what happens. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Hashem, how do you want me to speak? Paro doesn't understand me. Okay, even if Moshe, so let Moshe even says to Hashem, so let Aaron be the guy. Why do I need to be the guy and then use Moshe Rabbeinu to be the guy, the Aaron to be the guy? Just cut me out. What do I need to be the middleman for? Hashem says, no, what do you mean? I'm in charge. Who made you speak? Who made you not speak? Who made you stutter? Who made you? It's all up to me. So it says beautiful. There's a pasuk. We know the Gemara in Brachot tells us Yirat Shemayim. The bigger Yirat Shemayim is, the more fear of Hashem you have. So then, the more people understand and respect you. Hashem was saying it doesn't matter your fluency. It matters on your Yirat Shemayim. It says the pasuk at the end of Kohelet. It says Sof Davar Hakol Nishma Et Elokim Yirah. Sof Davar, the end thing, the end all, what matters? Hakol Nishma, everything will be here. Et Elokim Yirah. God you should fear. When you want things to be heard, you want to understand what's supposed to go on, fear God. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, your relationship with me, Moshe Rabbeinu was the top. Not a knock on our own. Hashem said to Moshe, I chose you because you have this Yirat Shemayim, you have Yirat Elokim to the highest level. He said, so what happens? Sof Davar Hakol Nishma. The end of the day, it's all going to be heard. Why? Yirat Elokim. You fear God, so therefore whatever you say is going to be conveyed over. It's going to be heard. It's going to be understood. Says the Kedushat Tzion, the beautiful, beautiful Remez. He says, Sof is the end. So he says literally, Sof, if you take the end of Davar Hakol Nishma, the next part of the pasuk, Sof Davar Hakol Nishma. So he says if you take Sof of the words Davar Hakol Nishma, the last letters of the words Davar Hakol Nishma, spell the word Aral, which means hard of speech. Moshe says to Hashem, Eich yishmeini paro ki ani Aral sifazayim. How can I speak? I'm difficult, I'm heavy of speech. So says the Kedushat Tzion, the Sofei Tevot, the last letter of the words Davar Hakol Nishma. The words are able to be heard. The last letter is Aral, hard of speech. What's Hashem telling Moshe? The literally of the words that say you will be able to be heard, the end letter is difficult speech. Because he's telling him the same person that makes you hard of speech makes it understood. The same person, the same being that says it's day, says it's night. It says Moshe Rabbeinu, don't worry about whether or not he can hear you. I'll make it work. I'll make you able to speak. I'll make him understand perfectly what's going on. And that's the entire idea. The entire concept of being in Mitzrayim is all perspective. When we're in Mitzrayim, it says our das, our intellect, our understanding was the thing that they were after. That was the thing that we had difficulty with. When you go into Mitzrayim, you have to understand is that our das, our intellect, our understanding has to be connected to Hashem. When we think we know better, we think we know what's right and what's wrong, that's when we get into trouble. When we understand that I don't understand, it's all Hashem, so that's when we first understand. You start to be in control of your life when you let go of being in control. That's what Mitzrayim is. How's it possible that as a nation we grow, we flourish? Why did Paro make this whole gzera? We were good. We were on good terms with him. He started to think about, wow, there are so many of them. Maybe they'll overthrow me. What do you mean? We're on good terms. We're friends. We don't have beef with you. You don't have beef with us. But maybe you'll turn on me, so now I have to punish you. Now I have to make you slaves. Really? His das, his intellect, his thinking so much, his being in power so much, messed him over. Okay, so maybe he took advantage of us. For 210 years he had free slaves. Great. But then what happened? Egypt's gone. I don't know about if you've been there. Like, it's not a superpower. It's like, whatever. I don't know. Pyramids still there. That's about it. Mitzrayim was all about leaving the control of ourselves and giving the control to Hashem. How ironic is it? You know, the places of Pitom and Ramses, the two places that power really had us working hard, it's brought down in the Midrashim that it was built on quicksand. Essentially, they built up these pyramids and they just start sinking. And they just keep building them and start sinking. He did it because then you're never going to finish work. But perhaps the idea is, when you build up yourself so much, it just sinks. You build yourself up, build it up, get to the top, and it's just going to sink. You're going to have to do it again and again and again and again. What do you mean? I built it, right? Can you imagine? It's like you go back the next day and like one layer is gone. It's like, okay, who took away that layer? It's like, what do you mean? The next day he goes, right? It's like somebody had to do it. It goes, no, your work is just not even there. Nobody has it. It's not recorded. No documentation. Your pyramid's gone. Build it again. And we think so much about, I heard a beautiful, somebody sent a letter to Lubavitcher Rabbi once. And he said, I'm having a difficult time at work, and I'm having a difficult time with my wife. I'm having a difficult time, my kids are not listening. I'm having a difficult time with this. I'm having a difficult time with myself and my mental health. And so I heard that the Lubavitcher Rebbe didn't write anything back to him. He took the guy's letter and he mailed the letter back to the guy. And he simply circled the I at the beginning of every sentence. I'm having a problem and I have this issue and I have. So he just circled I, put it in the letter and sent it back to the guy. The guy opened it up and saw, I see the problem. Me, I'm focused on me. It's all about me. Moshe says to Hashem, how's power going to hear me? I can't speak. Hashem says, don't worry about you. It's not you, it's me. I got this. Don't worry about Paro. Don't worry about your speech. Worry about Yiras Hashem. Worry about fearing me, and it's all going to work out. I got a plan. It's going to go according to my plan. Proof. You were raised in Paro's house. If that's not the ultimate, then what is?
You say worry about fearing me, but what if something bad is happening? I'm just chilling there like I believe in God.
This is it. So the difference, no, it's a very big point. The difference between emunah and bitachon is that nekuda. Emunah is believing God exists. God's in control. Bitachon, and people have a hard time understanding this. And this is where it comes in. This is like separates the boys from the men. Bitachon is that when something bad is happening to you, you understand that it's really good. I feel that it's bad. Why? Because I think I should have won the lottery last week. I didn't. That's bad. No, God said, no, it's better for you not to win the lottery. Trust me, that wouldn't be good for you. I think I should have gotten that job. I'm upset because I didn't. Bitachon means I don't understand, but I know it's the best thing for me because God said no. When Hashem says no, right, the way we're raised or the way we think, we have to reprogram our minds. The way we're raised means that when we get a no from Hashem, that means Hashem's upset at me, or it's not right, or it's not going the way I want. Or we have to say, that means Hashem said, that's not really the best thing for you. I have something that's even better. Maybe you don't know what it is yet. Maybe it'll happen later. But I'm telling you, this for you now, not worth it. Don't invest in that. Bitachon means that when it's bad, it's really good. And it takes work on it. You can't just say and be like, okay, I'm good. It takes working on it. It takes talking to yourself. It means building yourself up to get to that level. It's a madrega. It's not easy. But that's bitachon. That bad is really good. I just don't get it. And you cannot get it and be like, okay, Hashem, I don't get it, and it's hard, but like trusting you on this one. So in Mitzrayim, Hashem says, in Mitzrayim, you're going to flourish. You're going to go from 70 to you know how many people were at Har Sinai? 3 million. 600,000 between 20 and 60 of men. So if you add the before 20s and the post 60 and all the females, the 3 million people. Where did we build up to that number? In Mitzrayim. How does that make any sense? Because the truth of the matter is, when we think it's difficult for us, it's really positive. How do you say difficult? Constraint. Narrow. It's a tsar. Tsar lima'od. Something's very difficult for me. Mitzrayim, right? Mitzrayim, the tsar is in the middle there. But it's all perspective. Huh?
It's a limitation.
Yeah. It's a limitation, but it's perspective also. Meaning that you have the option to see something as a limitation, or what happens if you flip it around? Tsar, turned around, is ratz. What's ratz mean? Run. Says halakha. The first thing in halakha says, when you wake up in the morning, what do you have to do? Ratz kitzvi. You get up, gibor kari. Ratz kitzvi v'gibor kari. Run like a deer. Means you're taking advantage of every opportunity. Now, if you want to look at things as tsar lima, oh, there's a lot of difficulty, it's too hard, I can't, it's impossible, no, what do you mean? This and that, and we can make excuses from today to tomorrow, it's not a secret, we all know that. But that same opportunity that you want to make an excuse for, if you flip it around, you look high and low, you say, you know, I can turn the situation around. You turn it around, it becomes rats. It becomes the ignition, it becomes the inspiration, it becomes the point of igniting you to be successful, to take advantage, to not stop. That same thing that you think is your undoing is actually the thing that's going to hook you up. I'll just tell you a story. It's a famous story. Anybody ever go into a supermarket and you see this like very like they call it artisan popcorn called Pop Insanity? If you go, it's crazy. It's popcorn in different flavors and it's packaged really pretty and fancy, whatever.
The blue ones, red ones.
No, that's something else. That's just colored. But this is like flavored and whatever. You'll see it, and if you recognize it, whatever. You know how that happened? There's a guy, he invested in the business. He wanted to make like a party business. And him and his partner, they invested and they bought all the stuff and whatever. It cost a tremendous amount of money to start a business. And the business didn't take. And they had to shut down. And what you do when you close a business, nobody should ever know, but you liquidate everything you can because you need to reclaim as much money as possible. And he started selling off all the things, everything he had. He had a fog machine gone, the cotton candy, everything he had, he was just getting rid of. And for whatever reason, he held on to the popcorn machine. He put it in the basement, the garage, whatever it was. And his little daughter was getting 8, she was turning 8 and 9, whatever it was, they were making her birthday party. And so he said, oh, you know what, I'll pull out the popcorn machine. He rented a cotton candy machine again. And he said, and we'll make food, we'll make snacks for the kids. One of the kids said to him, he goes, I don't like popcorn. Can you make it sweet? Can you make it flavorful? So the guy said, no, let me play with it. He took the cotton candy mix and he started playing with the popcorn and he blended them together and he coated the popcorn with this cotton candy flavor. The girl had some and then they were bugging out. They were like, this is amazing. So he said, okay, fine. 8-year-old girls like cotton candy and popcorn. What's the chiddush, you know? So later that night, that girl's mother or father called him and said, what's the recipe? My daughter's obsessed with this. She hasn't stopped talking about this popcorn. Can you make us some? So sure, I'll make some. And they got word got out, and he started making more and more and more and more and more. So he made a small business out of it. And they went to a fair, a show, and next thing he knows, somebody walked by, saw it, bought a package, loved it, bought a few more bags, and took it to work. Happened to be that person worked for Oprah Winfrey. And so Oprah Winfrey, the way that the world works, or America works, is when Oprah says jump, people jump. Right? Oprah said the best-selling items to buy your friend on this holiday season, this goes back a couple of years, and Pop Insanity popcorn was one of the things. And she put it out there, and she put it on display in the website and everything, and the guy's business took off like crazy, and now they're like the millionaires. Because Oprah said, this popcorn's good, so that means the popcorn's good. The guy made crazy amounts of flavors, and now he's successful. What do you mean? The business went up, bottomed up. He saved, out of everything he saved, there was a popcorn machine. His daughter's friend, and if he would have made this candy, this popcorn, and tried to get it on the Oprah Winfrey show, it never would have made it. You can't get it to Oprah if you tried. It happened to be, someone saw it and brought it to her and she loved it, and the game over. Think Oprah did that? Think this guy did that? Hashem said, don't worry, I'll tell you when that popcorn machine is going to start popping money. Until it's ready, it's not going to do a darn thing. Hashem, how's he going to listen to me? How's this machine going to make me money? How am I going to be successful in my serving you? Hashem says, don't worry, leave that up to me. You just invest in me. Trust me. Build a relationship with me. Whatever that means. Learn a little more Torah, do a little more mitzvot, say a few more brachot, wear a yarmulke a little longer, put your tefillin on in the dark. Whatever it is, just invest in me. I got your back. When the time is right, it's going to go off. The light's going to hit, it's going to be gold. And that doesn't mean we're all going to strike it rich and become millionaires.
Yeah.
Sorry. But what it does mean is we're all going to have that relationship where if you really believe and trust in Hashem,
That was a good builder, motivated all this.
but it's true. If you have that relationship, that trust in Hashem, then you realize, but you realize that you don't need that $1 million. Because if you needed it, you'd get it. If you really believe in Hashem, so then whatever He's giving you is exactly what you need. We'll finish with this one more awesome story. There were these two Hasidic rabbis, very, very famous. They're brothers. Rav Zushma Napoli and Rav Elimelech of Lezhensk. Rav Elimelech was more successful, and Rav Zusha was not very, very affluent. He didn't really have a lot of money. He lived his entire life in not such a wealthy state.
Poverty.
Yeah, I don't know if it was poverty, but he didn't have money. He was very poor. Yeah, we'll say poverty. Somebody came to Rav Elimelech and said, "I'm good. How come Hashem can't give me parnasa? I need parnasa." So Rav Elimelech said, "Listen, I can't really relate to you, Baruch Hashem. My brother, Rav Zusha, Rav Zusha totally understands what you're talking about. Look at him. He lives his entire country, like Anapoli, his entire city. He's the Rav of. Nobody's got money there. The richest guy in town is poor. Go ask him about how he deals and what's it mean and whatever." So the guy says, "Okay." So he gets up and he travels to Anapoli. And he goes to the Rebbe, Rabbi Zusha. He says, "Rabbi, I don't get it. How is it fair? Hashem made me poor. I was told by your brother said, go, you have the answer as how I could be okay with this." And Rabbi Zusha looks at him and he says, I don't understand. Why did my brother send you to me? He says, well, he said you don't have so much. Rabbi Zusha says, I'm sorry, I can't help you. There's not a single day in my life that I felt that I was lacking. So the guy understood. It's because Rabbi Zusha realized that if Hashem thought he needed another dollar, he would have another dollar. If he thought he needed a new car, he would give him a new car. If he thought he needed a new business, he'd give him a new business. When we trust in Hashem, we have the bitachon in Hashem, so then we know that whatever we're getting is exactly what we're supposed to get. And that's the best for me. And that specifically the message comes out of Mitzrayim. We call them makos. They're plagues. They're damaging. They're destructive. What do you mean? They're awesome for us. Why do we still call them plagues? Right? Like it's plagues for the Mitzrayim. But they're not the ones remembering it. We are. Like make up a different name. Use a different term. Be like the 10 miracles. That would make sense. There are 10 miracles that happened in Mitzrayim. The first one was blood. The second one was frogs. The third one is lice. That makes sense. It works. 10 miracles of Mitzrayim. Why do we still call them makos?
You want to be objective.
Yeah, no, because even from a makkah, even from something that is considered bad, we have to realize it's good.
I mean, it's not
The
just
makkos are good for us. What do you mean? You crazy? How do you say that? Translate that sentence. The plagues are good for us. Yes, exactly. If there's a plague that comes, it's good to you. Because that's what Hashem said. We call it makos to remember that a makkah, even though it sounds bad and it could be bad, but if it's brought to you, Hashem brought it to you because that's what's best for you.
When the market crashes and Michael Shura everything.
Yeah. When the market crashes and everything goes crazy, that's the best thing for us. Why? Because God said so. Yeah, even in that situation. Even when it's hard to believe. Even when you reach into your pocket and say, I ain't got. If you believe that Hashem did that, so that's the best thing for you right then. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean it's smooth sailing. But it means if you believe in Hashem, you say, Hashem, I don't get it, but I know you got this. I'm riding on your coattails. That's what it means to trust in God. If it's only when it's easy, that's not trust in God. You're in the comfort zone, so that's good. When it's not easy, when it feels like it's a makkah, and you still say, Hashem, I know you got me, that's what it means to trust. How's he going to hear me? Ani aral sefasayim. Yeah, Hashem says, Sof davar hakol nishma. The last letter, davar hakol nishma. In those words, that sof tevot is aral, heart of speech. From that specific place is where they're going to hear you. In that point, in that place, in that moment of difficulty, of despair, of how's it going to work, is exactly where it's going to come from. Basia, the daughter of Paro, raises Moshe Rabbeinu in Paro's palace. What? Hashem says, I'm in charge. Trust in me, and it's all going to work out. My bracha to all of us is that we should be able to internalize that and develop it and build it to the point where we can really, really believe and say, Hashem, I know you got me. I'm not worried.
Amen.